What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and we're doing a quick video today. Tonight will be the premiere of the new Huskies episode, so don't miss out on that. Don't worry, we're not pushing it along another day. But you can't go on Twitter right now, Eagle fan, NFL fan, without seeing a bunch of rumors about who Philadelphia is going to trade for. So what I've done is taken all 11 names that have been linked with the Philadelphia Eagles over the last week or so, kind of rated them myself, and give my opinion, the likelihood that they will happen, why they should or shouldn't happen, so that I could stop getting like 20 notifications every 2-3 hours on my Twitter asking me about potential trades. This is going to be the be-all, end-all of my opinion on some of these trades until maybe a new one arises. So we're starting at number 10. We got a tie, Carl Joseph, safety from the Raiders, and Hassan Riddick, linebacker from the Cardinals. Both these guys are on the rookie deals. I think they'd cost third, fourth rounders, something like that. Teams are getting ready to move on from them. When I look at Carl Joseph, I think that'd be a great fit, a great upgrade over Rodney McLeod long-term. You could cut Rodney McLeod, save some salary cap, but John Gruden has come out after the Amari Cooper trade and said they're not trading any more players, so that's why I put it at 10. And Hassan Riddick. Entering this year, I thought the Eagles' linebacking depth was the biggest weakness of this team. Boy, was I wrong. So Hassan Riddick would have more upside than some of our linebackers we have right now, but it's not a weakness. I don't think we give up assets to get a guy that might be an upgrade over Camus or something like that. So, while I've been impressed with Camus and Nate Gary, and I do view Hassan Riddick, he's a little bit better getting out there the passer, which right now, between Hicks and Nigel Bradley, we don't have a guy that's, clearly the guy that can get after the quarterback. I mean, Hicks can do it kind of, but not a guy that can be designed to blitz more often than not. Hassan Riddick would give that dimension to the defense, but I just feel like they're happy with the linebacking depth right now and won't move a draft asset for one. Going to number 9, we have Demaryius Thomas, Denver Broncos. A lot of rumors right now. Phillies might be working out a deal with the Denver Broncos. Demaryius Thomas' name has popped up. No, do not want. He's 31. 2014, 2015 was his last good year, like great year. It essentially would be a one-year deal. There's an out clause in his contract this offseason, because if not, he gets paid $17 million next year. And if we're worried about paying Le'Veon Bell big money for that trade rumor, which we'll talk about, no way in hell you're giving that to a 31-year-old wide receiver. Would he help the wide receivers situation right now for the Philadelphia Eagles on the outside? Maybe. I mean, even Demaryius Thomas' play has kind of slipped up a little bit. He's got some bricks on his hands. His speed isn't what it used to be. So I'd probably stay away from that one. That'd be a panic move in every sense of the word. Go number 8. We have David Johnson, running back from the Cardinals. While this would be the best player I think we could add, like in terms of impact and age and all that stuff and scheme fit, it doesn't make sense unless isn't the Cardinals GM an alcoholic or something like that? He's trying to pull his best Jim Irsay. So unless we can really pull one over on him, I'm pretty sure the Cardinals, regardless of what team David Johnson plays for, are on the hook for like $12 million against the cap over the next couple of years, just from that new contract that they signed this past offseason. So don't see any way, shape, or form Arizona move on from him. Plus, he's literally the only other good player on the offense. If you have your franchise quarterback, or believe you have your franchise quarterback in Josh Rosen, why move on from the only other really good, valuable piece on that offense? Doesn't make sense, so I don't see that happening. Number 7, LeSean McCoy. Shady is 30 years old. Can he stay healthy? He just picked up, I think, a concussion injury last week, so that's up on the table. And there's reports that Philly was looking at Shady, and the Bills were looking for like a king's ransom. What was it, a first and a third or something like that? So while it makes sense that Shady could be available because the Bills might want future draft picks, think about long-term and Shady's age and stuff like that, it seems like they are very content having LeSean McCoy on the roster, and there's no way hell I'm trading a king's ransom for a guy that doesn't have a lot of tread left on his tires. Even though the nostalgia trip of having Shady back in Philadelphia, he never should have left Philly in the first place, would be nice, and if there is a way that we end up getting LeSean McCoy, will he help out the offense? I definitely think he'll help out the RPOs a little bit. I just don't think for his price and everything about Shady where he's at in his career right now would make sense for the valuation. Next up at number 6, we have Le'Veon Bell, and we're going to get it out of the way right at the beginning. He's too expensive for the Philadelphia Eagles. He wants what, $14 million plus yearly? Wants a lot of guaranteed money, and I, as a former high school Canadian legendary running back myself, I think running backs should be the president of guaranteed money in contracts. I think running backs, more so than any other position in the league, should get the most guaranteed money because of, it becomes the nature of the business, the nature of the position. So while I agree Le'Veon should get a lot of money, Philly had a method to winning the Super Bowl, and that method was, I believe, the combined salary cap of all of our running backs combined. Even if you throw in Darren Sproles, who wasn't part of that Super Bowl run, he got hurt like week 4 or 5, probably less than $5 million on the books for all of our running backs. Having a guy that's 3 times that amount just doesn't fit the framework and the skeleton that the Philadelphia Eagles front office and just coaching staff have built as a winning Super Bowl formula. Now, if this ever happened, and I mean until the trade deadline passed or Le'Veon Bell even shows up, there's going to be trade rumors that Le'Veon Bell's on his way out of Pittsburgh. If it does happen, it'd be awesome, man. He's probably the second best running back in the league. I think we can all agree right now Todd Gurley's probably number one. But would he help Philadelphia? Yeah. Would he be, perfect for a Doug Peterson offense? Yeah. Pretty much everything about Le'Veon Bell coming to Philly outside of the contract would be amazing. Would be perfect. Contract just doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. I think if you do that move and you bring in Le'Veon Bell, probably not going to be able to, most likely won't be able to re-sign Brandon Graham, Jordan Hicks, Nelson Aguilar. It's just too expensive, man. It doesn't make sense to me. And, it's been a rumor everyone's been talking about for a month now, month plus. And since day one, I've been like, I don't think it's happening. Going to number 5, we have Devontae Parker of the Miami Dolphins, who is reportedly available for a third-round pick. Devontae Parker's entering his 4th year in the NFL. Currently has 141 catches, 1,900 yards, 8 touchdowns. Not great. He's injury-prone. Not great. Has a $9 million cap hit next year. So the only reason why I have him at 5 is because he's affordable. And if you have confidence that this Eagles wide receiver coaching staff, just the offensive staff in general, that was able to turn Nelson Aguilar from the bust brickhand Chip Kelly type guy into one of the better slot wide receivers in the NFC, could have that kind of influence with the ceiling that Devontae Parker has as a potential outside wide receiver, like, tapping that potential that we saw at Louisville. It could be worth it, man. A buy low. You're not paying a first-round pick like the Dallas Cowboys did for Amari Cooper, a third-rounder. It could make sense. And long-term, it's not that bad. But I kind of view whatever move Philadelphia makes right now needs to help the Eagles right now. This season, get out of the rut that they're in. Don't think Devontae Parker does that. So long-term, not that bad. That's why he comes in at 5. But short-term, right now, not great. Going to number 4, we have Chris Harris, the cornerback of the Denver Broncos. Again, the Eagles and the Broncos linked. When you look at Chris Harris, he has regressed since his 2016 All-Pro season. Now he's pretty much a pure slot corner. He's 29. He has a decent contract, though. Contract's not terrible this year. Wouldn't be picking up a lot. Next year's $8 million. And looking at the Philadelphia Eagles defense last year, slot corner Patrick Robinson was very influential. Big key piece of our defense. But if you view and grade the Eagles secondary this year, you would say Sidney Jones, who has been our slot corner, is probably the best, the bright spot that we've had there. So adding in a guy like Chris Harris, unless you're committed to moving Jalen Mills to safety, put Sidney Jones on the outside with Ronald Darby, and you have Chris Harris in the slot, this move doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And, we already know, Jim Schwartz, Jalen Mills is his ride or die, and I think something even more crazier than Chris Harris would have to happen for him to move on from Jalen. Going to number 3, we have Emmanuel Sanders, another Denver Bronco. Now he's 31. Didn't think he was this old at all. Has a 75% catch rate so far in 2018, which is very, very good. Again, kind of like Demaryius Thomas, would be a one-year rental as he has a $12 million cap hit next year, but this offseason you can get out of it for, I think it's like $2 million, something like that. So again, I feel like the what you have to give up to get Emmanuel Sanders probably wouldn't be as expensive as Chris Harris. And understanding there's a one-year rental, does he help the wide receivers right now? Yeah. We need something that can help out right now. And, he's the inverse, I think, of Demaryius Thomas, who's kind of washed. Devontae Parker, I think, would be a long-term move. Emmanuel Sanders could help us right now, but he is 31, and you want to give up a lot of draft assets for a one-year rental. I don't know, but I do think if I look at this team right now in my head, Aguilar in the slot, you have Ertz, who's being the best tight end and producing the best tight end in football. Alshon, who's been an animal since he came back. And then you throw out someone like Emmanuel Sanders, who has a 75% catch rate right now, and he can get separation. He's a speedster. Worse moves could happen right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. This would be a move that, depending on what we give up, if we had to give up, a third round, second round. If Amari Cooper's going for a first, though, you have to wonder what Emmanuel Sanders' price tag is. He is 31, so we'll just say Eagles overpay slightly and give up a second rounder for Emmanuel Sanders. I'll be a little upset. I think I'd rather a second round pick than Emmanuel Sanders, but what Sanders could bring to this offense right now would be pretty huge. Going to number 2, Jordan Howard of the Chicago Bears. This is the one running back. This is the one piece on offense I would overpay for in a heartbeat. Clearly, it looks like he's getting phased out there in Chicago. It seems like Cohen is getting more and more snaps every week, and he looks better, to be completely honest with you, for Matt Nagy's scheme. Jordan Howard was never a fit. So, while I don't know necessarily why the Bears would need to move Jordan Howard, you're in a position, why not have him just to be your power back? Maybe he's underused, yeah, but he's still a nice asset. He's affordable. But now could be the time that they get even better value than what they would if they wait till the offseason to move on from him. So, bend Philly over if you want. Jordan Howard's 23. He's on his rookie deal. He's in his third year. He has 2,700 rushing yards, 17 touchdowns. This would be literally a like-for-like of what we did to get Jay from the Miami Dolphins, minus, there's not locker room drama with Jordan Howard. But from a contract standpoint, I would love Jordan Howard here. I think he would have solved the RPO issue that we're having. Again, I already talked about this. You look at Philly, you look at Kansas City. They pretty much run the same offense. Kansas City, it's working. Philly, it's not. You look at all the pieces. Kansas City has good wide receivers. They have Tyreek. I guess they have Tyreek. Everyone else is kind of inconsistent, and they have a good tight end. Philly, Alshon, and they have a good tight end. So it's like, all right, Mahomes, Wentz, both great quarterbacks. Then what's the difference? Oh, teams actually stack the box against Kareem Hunt because they know that he can beat them. Teams are not stacking the box against Philadelphia because they're saying, whatever, our front four will stop the run. So the RPOs aren't nearly as effective this year for Philly as they were last year when we had much more so Jay and LeGarrette Blount, all things considered. So I think you add in a guy like Jordan Howard, the offense is going to look day and night better because the RPOs will be that much more effective, and our offense will look a lot more like last year's than what it is this year's as we're struggling to put up 20 points a game. So for Jordan Howard, I would absolutely overpay. Doesn't he have an injury history? Man, this guy's perfect. And he has the ties to the front office. I can't remember his name right now, but the guy that works with Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas drafted Jordan Howard in Chicago, so there's that tie as well. Number one, it's Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson, he's 28, three-time All-Pro. He has a good contract. What else I have here? I wrote something down. Oh, his dead cap numbers aren't that bad. As he gets older, the dead cap is like $1 million, $2 million, something like that. Like, it's not like these mega deals that get signed. If you want to move on from him, it's like, oh, I'm losing $8-9 million. His contract is very good for a 28-year-old. And I also see in Pat Pete, because of his size and his athletic ability, if he becomes a long-term option for the Philadelphia Eagles, he has that size and range that he can pull a Malcolm Jenkins and move back to safety. So he has that long-term appeal. He's 28. He's younger than Chris Harris. I think, obviously, he's a big fish right now, and there's reports that the New Orleans Saints were interested in him, but the Saints just traded for Eli Apple, so I don't know what's going on there. But Pat Pete and Jordan Howard are number one and number two by a mile. Like, it's everyone else and Jordan Howard and Patrick Peterson. If we can find a way to get both these guys, we'd be probably playing Madden or fantasy football or something like that. But Pat Pete and Jordan Howard, for me, are almost a 1A and 1B because you either say, A, the offense is the problem because they're not scoring a lot. And how do you fix the offense? Well, you fix the RPOs by getting in a big running back, which kind of makes me sad as a Corey Clement fan, but it's just not working out. They're not even giving the opportunities. If you're not going to give them the opportunity, go and get someone that can fix it. Or is it the defense that has Jalen Mills getting burnt 4 or 5 times a game? Well, then you go and get a guy like Patrick Peterson that's going to cut down on those immensely, and then we can find out, well, it's clearly it may be an expensive price to pay, but maybe we'll find out that maybe it's not the talent on the field, it's Jim Schwartz's play calling. But I highly doubt that if you bring Pat Pete to this defense, that it's not going to be a massive improvement. So you guys out there, let me know out of all these trades that have been flying around, what is the move you want Philadelphia to make in the comment section below. As always, smash that like button, subscribe if it's your first time stopping by. We're trying to become the new Premier Eagles channel because, another big one just recently went down, just recently died. So maybe there's some room for old C4 to scoop my butt in there. But, yeah, we'll be breaking more news. I'll be absolutely shocked if Philadelphia doesn't make a trade of some sort this week. So, hopefully it's one of the ones that we were more positively in favor of that we talked about here today. But that does it for me right now. I'll see you guys later tonight with the new episode of the Toronto Huskies. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.